Welcome back to the Home Lab, and I've got another interesting video for you today. This is the story of the blackest paint you can possibly buy, and another paint, if you were to use it, might end you up in serious legal trouble. This is the interesting story of Stuart Semple's Black 4.0 and another black paint that's owned by Anish Kapoor. So today we're going to look at Stuart Semple's Black 4.0, which is available for anyone to buy. And I'm not sponsored by him, but from his website, where there's a really interesting range of incredible colours that he manufactures. But what's interesting about this paint is it's said to be one of the blackest paints you can possibly buy. And when you paint objects with this, they become so black that if you overlap them or put them in front of each other, you can't actually distinguish that there's two different objects there. But before I describe how a black paint can do this, we need to understand a little bit about colour. Now, I'm sure you're all aware from your school physics that Newton demonstrated that light, particularly sunlight that we call white light, is made of a range of colours, and they can be split into the rainbow colours that you've seen. He used a prism to split those colours up and then rejoin them again to prove that all those colours went back together and made white light. So something that's white, like these blocks here, reflect all the light that's incident on them. So those are all the colours of the rainbow, and as physicists we know those as different frequencies, energies or wavelengths. Something like green absorbs all of the light that's incident on it, especially if it's white light, and only reflects the wavelength and energy that is green light in the spectrum. And I think you can see where we're going here. Something that's blue, like this, will absorb all the light that's incident on it, or most of the light. Notice it's a little bit shiny, and we'll come back to that. And it will reflect just the blue part of the spectrum. So it's quite interesting. I say to my students that blue things don't like blue light. They're not sort of blue in their own right, if you see what I mean. They're not giving out blue light because they're luminous, but they're reflecting back the blue light to you. So trees that have green leaves are not using the green part of the spectrum. We've got some other slightly odd ones like yellow. So in the case of yellow, this can be produced by the yellow part of the spectrum reflecting back into our eyes. Or if we illuminate it with, this is really weird, if we illuminate it with green and red light, those two colours will reflect off this, and our eye perceives that as the middle frequency as yellow. So what we need to do is have a look at why some things appear black. Black surfaces, however, absorb all of the colours that are incident on them, so they appear dark. But as you know, most black surfaces can look a little bit shiny, like these patent leather shoes, or not completely black, like the rest of the shoe or this piece of card. It's really difficult to colour a surface so that it absorbs all of the light that's incident on it. No paint has been completely effective in this area until now, and it's this that I want to try and demonstrate today. Black 4.0 is the latest blacker than black paint to come out of Stuart Semple's amazing Culture Hustle art studio. His website explains that he has always aimed to make and share his own super colours, such as the pinkest pink and the glitteriest glitter, to name a few. And Black 4.0 is the latest in a series of black paints that aim to be as matte black as possible. It supposedly absorbs 99.95% of the light incident on it, therefore reflecting only 0.05% of the incoming light, making it very black indeed. As I said, there's an interesting backstory to all of this, and you might want to Google Anish Kapoor, who bought the rights to another paint that's said to be blacker than black, and they say it's the blackest paint out there. I'm not sure you'd be able to differentiate between the two. But you or I can't do that because he bought the exclusive rights to Vantablack, which means it's not going to be available to any other artist, which is a really unusual situation. It's a colour and a paint that's only available to one person in the art world. So I've seen pictures of items painted in Stuart Semple's Black 4.0 on the internet. I've never seen anything for real in a gallery, but they're really impressive even just on the computer screen. So I thought we'd try and give it a go today. So I was unable to get any Vantablack, as you're not surprised to hear, but I could buy easily some of Stuart Semple's Black 4.0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint some items in this and then put them in front of each other and see what happens. So to do that, I've borrowed some of Barry's bricks here, and we're going to have a background that we're going to paint in black. And then I've got some figurines here, and it's funny how he never plays with these, and then the moment I get them out of a box somewhere hidden away, he suddenly wants them. But these are going to end up being painted in Black 4.0, and we're going to put them in front of our little black background, and we're going to see if they really completely disappear. So let's have a go at painting and see how we get on. And the beauty of this paint is it's water soluble as well, so we can thin it down slightly and paint it more easily, and also clean all the brushes and things once we've finished. Well, the first thing I notice is it seems to spread really easily. We don't need quite as much as I thought we would. There's a little bit of blue showing through there, but I think we can get rid of that. And we'll see how long it takes to dry as well. I think it's an acrylic paint, so it shouldn't take that long. So let's get our background painted up. Oh, a little paint goes a very long way. At the moment it looks a bit shiny, but I think that's because there's water in it and it's waiting to dry. But let's see how we get on once it's completely dried. So it's covering quite quickly, so I'll crack on, get this finished, let it dry, and then we'll have another play with the figurines and see what they look like against their black background. So I've waited a couple of hours for the paint to dry, and I've been told that you really do have to wait for it to dry to get the effect to work best. So let's get the little Dalmatian now. So the Dalmatian has lost his spots, and put him up here, and I'll just lean him against there. That's pretty good. He hasn't completely disappeared. There's got a few white specks on him. And now let's bring the dinosaur in. So the dinosaur, let's see if it becomes a Githynkosaurus. But I think where this paint comes into its own is if you take the two figures, and I'll just bring them out again. So there's our dinosaur and there's our Dalmatian. It's going to fall over. There we go. And I think what becomes interesting is when you overlap them. So let me put the dinosaur here. And when you overlap them, I know you can see the white on the dog's back, but the dinosaur's body seems to completely disappear. I don't know what you think, but can you see that as two separate animals, or does that blend into one? So I think this paint is really rather good. So all the light that's hitting it, or whatever it was, 99.9, was it 5% of the light that hits it gets absorbed, so you get almost no reflection at all. So all objects will look pretty much the same. As you can see, I'm a bit of a beginner at this art game, an illusion game, and I don't think that went particularly well, but I think that's probably because I wasn't lighting it properly and I hadn't painted the figurines very well. So let's try something slightly different. So I've been playing around with this a bit, and it's clear that lighting is quite important and how you position the objects and that they're properly painted. But the Dalmatian on the string seems to work quite well. So I think it's a good idea to have an object that's very, very close to its black coloured background. And then it does seem to disappear pretty well. So I do hope you enjoyed the story of Black 4.0, and do have a look at Vantablack as well. It's a really interesting situation in the art world. Anyway, as you know, I often cut in a few extra bits at the end of the video, so do stay after I've finished and watch those. And then right at the end, there's some links to some other videos I've made that you might find of interest. Do please leave a comment. I really find it fascinating to see what you think, both good and bad, about these sorts of things. And I've had some really fun and interesting observations by you. So please keep those coming. Do subscribe if you feel that's your sort of thing. It helps build the channel up, and it's going really well at the moment, so I'm really pleased. Anyway, whatever happens, I'll be making another video soon, and do please join me then.